It's locked, all right.
Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. This key will surely grant me access to the basement. Balls of Mars, Fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful. It's locked. These skulls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. They're not after blood. Mr. Connor's injuries don't... match the report. I'd better look into this. Traces of a pinkish foam at the corner of the lips.
Some sort of drug overdose, perhaps? Multiple abrasions and scarring on the arms and legs. Old and distinctive injuries of a sailor or a fisherman. The chest was originally open to perform the operation. The sutures are clean, but the chest has been reopened. A puncture over the left lung, possibly a chest tube insertion. Not the cleanest work, but I think it was successful. Signs of internal bleeding. So, Dr. Tippett's anesthetics were incorrectly dosed, causing the patient's death. And then he tried to operate on him again. Tippett has made an egregious error. It's time we talked. Tippett has made an It's locked.
Scowls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting.
Sodium hypochlorite. Dangerous to administer, but efficient in the proper dosage. Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Tell me what Dr. Tippett did. I know his mistake caused a patient's death.
If I had not covered up his error, Dr. Tippett...
You can't allow your emotions to dictate your conduct.
Look around you, Dr. Reed.
To clear Dr. Tippett's name must be the decision of Dr. Swansea. You can't take matters into your own hands.
I respect Dr. Swansea's authority and management, but he's no idea what happens here on a daily basis. I did what I had to do.
Goodbye, nurse. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed.
Corcoran, I want you to tell me about Mr. Connor. How did he die? What happened?
He was my patient. He died because of my mistake. That's the blunt truth.
Who was this patient?
I don't know. Some sick man from the docks. Maybe a fisherman. I had no time to talk with him. No one claimed the body.
What was the nature of the mistake?
It was a twofold error. My diagnosis was wrong, and the administered dosage was too strong.
Why not stop?
Are you mad? I killed...
I will cover for you, Dr. Tippett, by keeping what happened to Mr. Connor to myself.
I don't know what to say, actually. I can't exactly force you to become my accomplice.
You didn't force me. This is my decision to make. I believe you're still of use to the hospital, considering the situation.
Then I can make you this promise. As soon as the epidemic is eradicated, I will resign.
What will you do after your resignation? Do you have a plan?
I always fancied visiting Cyprus. Such a beautiful island. I could buy a house there by the sea, read poetry, and wait for death.
Goodbye, Dr. T. Good evening, Miss...
Dr. Reed.
And why?
People who don't sleep at night always seem more...
Do you ever think about...
The wound he gave me will make
What did he want?
I recently had to kill his brother.
Only the strongest survive, then? Survival at all costs. Is that all you think about?
I'm the toughest bastard you'll ever meet, Dr. Reed. And I don't give a fuck what you think of me.
That man was determined to murder you. You almost died.
What a surprise. The first time I met him, he nearly shit himself. Fucking coward. I guess revenge gives you balls.
How is your hospital?
This is a shitty place with shitty staff.
What's wrong with...
That bastard you sent to bring me here, Milton. I thought he was...
I see.
The nurses aren't too ugly.
What's wrong with the hospital?
Come on, Dr. Reed.
But you're alive thanks to the F...
What are you expecting, a medal?
How long do you think you can escape the law, Clay?
I know this city like the back of my hand, Doc. I know its streets, who to pay, who to avoid, and who to bully. I won't get caught.
The police may be slow, but they will find you eventually.
Well, how come you didn't turn me in then? Nah, Doc, I figure you have something to hide so you can't ask the coppers for help. 'Cause 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 'cause
I'll leave you.
Please, sir. I need help bad.
What's going on?
I'm Blight, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Oswald and myself were both infantry, sir.
How long have you been...
I can't go there.
Don't be ashamed, Mr. Blight. Many soldiers... What can you tell me about yourself?
I'm Oswald's best friend.
This is a dangerous part of town.
We were looking for the Pembroke Hospital.
What can you tell me?
His name is Oswald Thatcher.
Where was your friend?
He went down by the canal.
I have all...
Thank you, Doctor... Have you found Oswald?
Not yet.
All right. Thank you.
It's locked, all right. Good evening, Nurse.
Good evening, Doctor.
Good.
We are horrific.
Good evening.
Good evening, Doc.
I'd like...
Wise choice, Dr. Rick.
Good evening, Doctor.
And good evening to you.
Goodbye.
I'm quite bit.
Thank you.
Finally, you've returned, Doctor.
Yes, Nurse.
You've worked your first miracle, Doctor.
Duty calls. When the storm has passed, I'll show you how to mix the remedy yourself with the same basic ingredients.
Many thanks, Doctor. When you've finished, you ought to report to Dr. Swansea in his office. He's been looking for you. Seemed pressing. Dr. Reed,
Well, Dr. Swansea certainly has confidence in...
not in an official capacity.
What about medical...
Dr. Reed, we don't have the money.
How is the duty...
Everybody works until they can't.
For how long have you been...
I first volunteered at the Pembroke Inn.
And before you...
If you must know.
What can you tell me about the epidemic, Nurse?
Everyday folk don't know how...
News on the front stated that the Spanish...
It seemed to be for a while.
What can you tell me about our...
This hospital was founded to help the East End...
Can you be more...
Well, veterans, the...
I'll see you... Good evening, Mr. Goswick.
I'm okay.
I have to go now.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, Miss... Good evening, Mr.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Helen. As for me... We have some of the most brilliant minds in
Dr.
London.
Reed, may I help?
I'll see you later.
Reads me like a book. I never could keep anything from her.
This hospital...
I will not let you down.
You are going to reveal all your secrets to me.
Good evening.
I need blood, Doctor.
I'll leave.
Damn.
It's locked.
It's here again.
Hello again, Doc.
Goodbye, Mr. Ham.
My blood boil with the fever.
Fear and disgust on every... Street corner. The daily routine.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea. But my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
I'm a dead man. I was murdered. Now I'm a murderer.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work.
I'm not some doe-eyed student, Edgar. I understand.
Very well.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the general...
A spokesman or politician is what you need.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
Do you need something?
I have just a few.
Then ask away.
You mentioned something about a secret.
Certainly. I've been...
Yet you don't fear me.
The Brotherhood has studied your kind for centuries.
That explains your nightly...
I feel it wasn't mere coincidence that led us to that.
Since I'm the one working for you...
Well, for many years, we have been the only...
Where do we stand today?
Well, to be honest, we cope on it.
What do you...
What we need is hope.
Since you seem quite the expert...
As men of science, our first step is always...
The sun. The morning following my...
You will find there is very little that can kill a vampire.
Must I...
You are a vampire.
The man we pursued and slew in the canning factory, William Bishop, I believe, was he a vampire?
He was a Skrull, technically speaking. The debate rages as to their classification. Some think them a subspecies of vampire, others something else.
How do Skrulls come into existence?
The name means slave. The etymology may indicate that they are a lesser species of vampire. From what I know, vampires tend to despise them.
Just for clarity, what differences are there between myself and a Skrull?
A Skrull is easier to eliminate, Jonathan, even if they remain formidable foes for the unprepared. Vampires... Now, vampires exist beyond the mortal realm.
We'll see each other again. The flower's dying. It needs water.
I'm quite busy right now.
Have you heard about any blackmail going on?
Blackmail?
Thank you. Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor.
Good.
Horrifying epic. The flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough. Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet Lady of Mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's a pleasure to see you again. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a the lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury. I remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
Apologies. You've taken me by surprise. I'm very happy to see you.
The pleasure is mine, Doctor.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter first. Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
Have any of the patients given you trouble?
These poor souls have so little.
The world would be a better place if it were cared for by women like you.
You make me blush.
Pardon my boldness, your ladyship, but I have...
As a newborn, your hunger for...
I'm a scientist. My trade...
I will gladly answer every question you have.
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion. I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy. I must refuse his most recent demands.
Who would be so foolish as to threaten you? A kindred spirit.
Even if it were the case, and I highly doubt it, a vampire would have asked for something more valuable than money. My suspicions lean toward a patient, or their family.
What are your expectations?
As the newly appointed surgeon of this hospital...
If we're dealing with an ordinary criminal...
As immortal tradition doth dictate.
Please continue.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
Is it true?
Now aren't you the blunt one?
Excuse my impertinence, your ladyship. This is not an interrogation. I assure you that this line of questioning is in your best interest.
In all honesty, I'm not simply a patron to the hospital. My visits serve a dual purpose. Dr. Swansea has been treating my condition with a revolutionary technique of blood transfusion. It seems you are a specialist in the domain.
I'll take care of it. Do you know where I should start?
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
I'll meet that woman now.
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reed. I'm sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test. When this is resolved, I'll be your obligé. I'll answer all questions in regards of your condition. Is our little mystery clear?
I think of nothing else.
My situation...
How can I be sure I'll not find your unconscious body in the house again?
I promise you, you'll not find my unconscious body.
For God's sake, how can you say such a thing?
How can you refuse to listen? I tried to warn you for so long.
No, I won't let my only son die. You promised me you'll stay alive.
Your son lied to you, like the whole world lies to us.
Another night with the glorious battalion of Pembroke.
I'm sorry you ended up on a plain and cold medical bench, sir. I understand you must be very angry about this unfair situation.
It's locked, all right.
The same mass grave as your wife. I hope that might help.
You don't mind if I search your pockets, do you, sir? You won't need any of these anyway. I'm not stealing from you, mister. I'm only redistributing your belongings to people who need them more than you. You see, no one has claimed your body, sir, so it would be such a shame to bury you with your valuables. I will not forget you, sir, and I thank you for your generous donation.
It's locked.
Dr. Reed, may I help you?
Have you heard rumors about...
I don't have time to listen.
Do you know if any of the hospital staff have...
Doctor, you've hardly been...
I'll see...
You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen. As for me,
Good evening, Mr. Goswell.
I'm okay.
Have you heard rumors about...
No.
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself.
Yes, it's true.
All right, then. This is the first time we've really shared information about your case. Shall we call this progress?
Call it what you want, Dr. Reed.
You can trust me. I won't report you to the...
I guess I should thank...
Can I help you in any way?
I wrote a letter for my mother.
I see. And is...
Yes. And I don't want any...
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
I have to go now.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening, Doctor.
Have you heard rumors of...
Dr. Reed, are you trying to take
Of course not, Mrs...
Well, go be curious
Your son wished to die, Beatrice.
Are you not aware suicide is a crime?
I understand you fear the legal consequences, Mrs. God.
All my son needs is help and compromise.
Goodbye, Mrs...
I'm all right.
I will not let you down,
Don't waste
my
your time
boy.
with me.
Good evening, Dr. Strange.
And good evening to you.
Tell me, Thoreau, what's the real cause of your dislike for...
He refuses to admit that your blood transfusion...
What Dr. Ackroyd really said is that you lack...
It's a false conceit. Dr. Ackroyd secretly
Have you heard any...
If you're running some official inquiry, you had better question...
Goodbye.
Blundering idiot.
Good evening, Miss...
Good evening, Doctor.
Have you heard talk of...
No.
Goodbye.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Helen. As...
A lot of my own life.
Good evening, Nurse Hawk.
Good evening, Doc.
Have you heard of any underhand dealings within the hospital?
I don't have time for such nonsense, Doctor. I've work to do.
Blackmail is a serious matter, Nurse Hawkins.
Everything is serious around here, Doc.
Are you certain?
If you have something in mind...
Goodbye, Nurse Hawk. Good evening, Miss...
I need blood, Doctor.
Have you heard of any black...
I have no...
I'll leave.
A daily routine.
Good evening, Miss...
Evening.
Have you heard
If you want to know what's going on...
Goodbye.
Fear and disgust on every street corner.
These nurses, bred with
Hello
no
again,
respect.
Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Miss...
What is this? Who are you? Get out of my room.
There's no need for alarm, madam. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon.
Preposterous. Dr. Reed, you say?
Please, calm down, madam.
How brave. Threatening an old...
Harriet Jones. Indeed. I've been meaning to have a chat with you.
Oh, better than any patient nurse.
I heard there have been some despicable...
Blackmail? Wait. You're investigating...
If I didn't know better, Miss Jones, I'd be inclined...
God's honest truth, Doctor.
You seem to know more about the goings-on here than...
That's it. Blame the old and infirm.
I assure you, madam, this is not an investigation.
Debauchery, then? Nurses Crane, Hawkins, Brannigan...
Really? Well, if you have irrefutable proof, I'll not have the staff behave...
This is your business, Doctor, not mine.
Thank you for your time, Miss Jones. You... Miss Jones?
Again?
Now...
Well...
If you could just tell...
It's terrible, Doctor. What with a...
I see.
No one comes to visit, you know.
Have you noticed?
It would be a great deal easier to...
Everyone here is very...
Thieves and murderers, the lot.
Come now, Miss Jones.
Have you no eyes?
I'll come and visit you shortly. The patients and staff might know something. I'll start my investigation with them. Good evening, Dr. Timmons.
Dr. Reed.
Have you heard of...
I have no time.
Goodbye. Good evening, Nurse.
Good evening.
Do you know if any of the hospital...
The people who work here...
Have you seen a strange man?
I've never heard of such a thing.
Goodbye.
Good evening, Milk.
Good evening, Doc.
Have you heard of...
There are a lot of secrets, Rat.
What kind of...
I'm not in the gossip business, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Milk.
Hey,
Have you heard of any...
Blackmail?
I'll leave... Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
What can you tell me about the strange man visiting one of the nurses during her shift?
Let me guess. You spoke with that old shrew, Harriet Jones.
She could have been telling the truth about the mysterious man.
That old witch will end up in hell soon enough. Who cares if a nurse finds some happiness where she can?
No matter how you feel about her, Miss Jones deserves our help.
Who says I don't care for her? Hate is what keeps that old crone alive.
Goodbye, Nurse.
I'm quite busy.
Thank you. Good evening, Doctor.
And good evening to...
Goodbye.
Sweet girl. Never could keep anything from her.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Have you heard of some... Pardon me, sir.
Tell me the truth about your appointment as a medic during the war, Rakesh.
The regiment administration appointed me by mistake.
Do you realize how many soldiers died because of that decision?
Yes, sir. I swear I did, sir. But
it is an unbelievable...
It was a time beyond belief, Dr. Reed.
You can't impersonate a doctor.
You're absolutely right, sir.
Do you believe you have really...
My ratings were within the averages of the...
Have we met before?
I don't think...
When we...
Funny story.
How dare you steal from the dead, Rakesh? Is that what your pawn...
These people are dead.
You should show respect for the dead. What about their loved ones who may treasure these items you sell?
The bodies I watch over are the unwanted and undesired, sir. I would never deprive anyone of their family artifacts.
Please show.
Of course. It's just drink.
It's locked.
So many times. You can't just die like this.
Don't worry, we're safe.
You're sure you don't come back with me?
Nah, I have to see someone at the hospital.
Be careful. You look so bad they may keep you as a patient.
Fuck 'em. I don't like hospitals. Or doctors.
Well then, when you go back to Whitechapel, you may find this useful.
What is it?
A pass for a free medical exam by the best nurse available. Just read it.
I don't read well, but thank you, I guess.
This must be Clay Cox's knife. A fine blade. No wonder he wants it back. This man has been savagely attacked and dragged to the floor. What sort of creature is this? can't believe I'm doing this. What sort of creature is this? Here's what's left of him. Not a lot to check, but I should anyway. Some voucher for a free checkup in Whitechapel. What is Nurse Crane up to? I really must find her. This is despicable. I can't believe I'm doing this. Are you injured, sir?
Help me get out of here. I need to get out.
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd be glad to...
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Thatcher, your friend Newton sent...
Yes.
Good. Now leave this place. Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure you're...
Yes.
Have you found Oswald?
Not yet, sir. I need more information first.
All right. What do you want to know?
I have all the information I need for now. If I find anything out about your friend, I'll let you know as soon as I can.
Thank you, Dr. Reed.
Hey, Doc.
I have found a gift from your wife.
In that case, you'll be properly rewarded, Doc. Clay
I hope that won't make me an accomplice to your future.
Who knows what am I?
I'll leave you for now. In this letter, Mortimer Goswick does nothing to hide his desire to die. I could give it to his mother, but doing so would betray his trust.
It's locked, all right.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick.
I'm okay.
I have retrieved your letter, Mr. Goswick.
Thank you. This is...
I think you should talk to your mother.
Thank you.
I've read your letter, Mortimer.
There's nothing more to say, really.
Despair is a deadly poison I've tasted myself, sir.
I know that perfectly, Doctor.
I have to go.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Doctor.
Mortimer is extremely vague as to his motivations.
As you say, Mortimer had...
Why did your son feel so...
I think it was more that he could only see the melancholy...
What do you think he meant by making the...
Mortimer has always been a sensitive soul.
Do you realize your son could try to kill him?
I think about it every minute.
Your empathy is remarkable.
How dare you talk to a mother like that?
I'm only trying to be honest, Mrs. Goswick.
No. I'll never
I have read your son's suicide...
He threatened to kill himself a few times.
Punish you?
I've known for a long time he was not happy with his...
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Doctor.
You always knew the words to calm the children.
Stop! Right now! Oi! You listening? Watch yourself!
This is despicable.
A leech! A leech!
Over there! There's one of them vermin!
mine! I'll take it! Fuck, it's fine! I said stay away! Elise!
Do you need something?
The matter of...
Oh, I know too much about this matter.
I have met...
She's a fascinating...
Is she the true reason you recruited me?
Lady Ashbury is a cherished friend of mine.
We'll see each other again. It's locked.
The flower's dying. It needs water. can't believe I'm doing this. I cannot enter.